appreciate Representative Cannon bringing this bill. And one more thing, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just invite everybody to the rural caucus down at the Blue Room, the depot at 12.
I will be there. Thank you. We've got a couple other questions, and we've got several in the audience that are going to speak to. We got a very special guest I see out there this morning. So, Representative Carter.
Morning. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Chairman. Representative, I guess I just wanted to be clear. I know that you said you received the comments. Are we going to discuss those? Because I'd like to put them to bed if we can.
I can't. I just got them late yesterday, so I can't talk about them with much education right now. But I mean, we can send them to the committee, or I don't.
I'm confused.
We got some comments from some groups yesterday that sent to us, and there's. I'm not sure we can incorporate all of them, but if we can incorporate some, which I'm committed to working with them, if we can incorporate them, they would have to be written by a lawyer, because right now they're just kind of proposals. Okay.
So my request was not necessarily that it would be the will of the committee if we wanted to incorporate them, but I was hoping that we would at least. So here's some of the things they're thinking about or whatever. So we're talking about, so this is something that we heard the people. I understand what you're saying. If we needed to incorporate it, it'd be some legal stuff.
Right.
And we may not be able to do that today. But I think
That's
we
correct.
always want to make sure that the people know that we hear them.
Correct.
We're not ignoring them, right? Even if we can't do anything about it today. So that was kind of my request was, were we even going to even briefly discuss them?
We can. I mean,
Okay, here's our status. As all y'all know, crossover days tomorrow. This bill has got to get to rules, and on a supplemental calendar is what'll happen tomorrow sometime. So it's a tough. We got a process. Got to get over to the Senate. And Commissioner, you want to
if you don't mind, Representative Carter, I will say this on behalf of the department, and obviously we'll work with Representative Cannon. I know my staff has those comments. We're willing to work through that, through the process, and work with Representative Cannon and my team and see of those comments what is workable and what isn't. And we're willing to make sure I'll make sure our team keeps you in the loop on that, but we're willing to work through that, through the process as the process moves forward. You have my commitment on that. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner. I
what
appreciate
he
it.
said.
Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Chairman. And Representative Carter pretty much said what I was going to say, but the packaging, Representative Cannon, can you just detail out the packaging and who that would actually affect? Because based on the bill and based on the owners of those CBD locations that came the other day, if you look at the bill, it looks like it's not going to affect them. Can you confirm that?
I'll let the commissioner speak to that.
Okay.
I think in regards to the packaging, Representative Thomas, obviously none of this would apply to anything that would be currently on the shelf, right? It would only apply to anything manufactured after the date of the effective date of the legislation, if it becomes law. So first and foremost, there is a grace period there that would allow. Secondly, it would only apply to specifically, especially to that packaging that where it would be especially considered attractive to children. So you couldn't put product in a Skittle bag to make it look like a Skittles bag or Funyun bag. We've seen that. We know it's being sold in the state of Georgia because our folks have taken that off the shelf and investigated those particular instances. I know there was some conversation around the material related to addressing light and mitigation of light. Mm-hmm. That's obviously something we can continue conversation on and have conversation about. But we do know, as I said a minute ago, this is definitely something that we can be open to on a ramp up, but at the same time, it would only apply after the effective date of the law moving forward. But that's definitely one of those things we can continue conversations on in regards to that particular packaging. I think that was the one, if I remember right, that was the one that was the particular comment was made about. And so we're willing to continue that conversation on what that looks like going forward.
Okay.
Just
Thank you, Chairman.
Bottom line, it affects anyone that's selling hemp products.
Representative Scoggins.
I know we got a couple more speakers, but at the proper time, I'm ready to move this.
Okay. All right, so let's now go. We've got 3 people signed up from the audience, and I want to call up someone who's been here before. Aviva, how about coming to the podium, Mike? Representative Corbett, would you want to do a proper introduction?
Or Squiggles? Which one?
There we go.
Who's comment? Okay.
Scribbles. Thank you, Chairman.
Well, welcome to the back to the Agriculture and Consumer Affairs Committee. Appreciate you coming down here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, committee. Thank you, Chairman. And happy birthday, Margie! Your dad grows the best peaches. You're so lucky. Thank you for having us. For all who don't know me, my name is Aviva Vuvuzela. I founded the Georgia Hemp Economic Revival Organization over 10 years ago now to educate, because I think there's a lot of education that is needed. I started by just writing the song Cannabis Car. Don't you want a car that runs on cannabis? People are still confused if I'm talking about the Cheech and Chong car. But in honor of Black History Month, I just want to add that George Washington Carver, it wasn't about peanuts. He actually created hemp fuel and hemp paint and a bunch of hemp products, Keymergy. So with that said, is it not true that cannabis has been prohibited for about 100 years? And is it not true that some people are still sitting in jail for cannabis? And is it not true that it's kind of metaphorical of if someone came into my closet and took all my clothes and said it was bad for people and they needed to clean it up because it was dirty, and now all of a sudden they gave me back the sleeves, and now they're giving me back a pant leg. And I think we just need to recognize that that is how some people feel. And I've been following the legislation and commenting when I can in the past 6 years, but I'm not sure if we've taken the full grasp of power and responsibility about the opportunity to bring this plant back with more healing and less punishment, with more love and less fear, with more education and less miseducation, with gratitude and forgiveness, because I think what protects our children more than anything else is having the parents around. And if there's any opportunity to amend any cannabis law to create more social equity, I think we need to grab it and run with it, because we are healing from the cannabis prohibition. And I'm so grateful that you all are listening to these comments, because there's a lot of anger and there's a lot of feelings. And even if someone isn't being targeted, they might feel targeted. And if, there's a lot of talk about that in the federal legalization, in reparations and forgiving. Can we forgive people for using a joint so that we can bring the father back home to make sure that they're not eating THC gummies in addition to packaging it appropriately? And just to add, my brother works in the emergency room, pediatrics in New York, and he's seen a few cases. And I just want to remind you, yes, THC, it just makes them really high. I said, what do you use to remedy it? He goes, just time. But, it's just like alcohol. If they get a hold of it, they can fall down the stairs. They can hurt themselves. I know someone whose child was killed in a car accident because someone was irresponsible with a gummy. So yes, I really appreciate all of these controls and the measures, but I also think education protects our children just as much, if not more. It protects our consumers. It protects me. I'm a recovering sugar addict too. People send me products all the time. I'm tempted to eat the whole package too. I don't even think the twist tops are enough for me. I want the blister packages to stop me from popping one after another, right? Even though I typically just leave it in a drawer. So, let me see. I just really appreciate you bringing up educating not only for our children to understand the history of what's going on, but also to educate people who want to get into this business. A lot of people don't have coaches or friends in the business, and they do have an economic disadvantage, and the education can help them. I'm wondering, if the Ag Commissioner can do an educational program, maybe the licenses that have the range, if 494, 1286 passes, then perhaps consider the economic equity when you're doing that sliding scale. That could be an option. And I think I've said, oh, well, the last thing I want to say about advertising, I really think it's ironic that we advertise sugar to children to begin with. It's so toxic and so poisonous, and I just want to put that on the record that it is a little bit off balance, that we're okay with saying, silly rabbit tricks are for kids when it has so much sugar in it, it's going to cause diabetes eventually. And speaking of advertising, we need to be more pragmatic and look at the music industry and see how our children are influenced by that kind of advertising as well.
Well, thank you
think
for
that's
being here. I appreciate it. Your passion for hemp and all the benefits of it through the years. So thank you for coming here.
Thank
I've got
you.
one Representative Perkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your comments, but I do greatly disagree in comparing THC use with kids on alcohol or on sugar.
Okay.
There are significant findings of the long-term health impacts, mental health problems that we see with kids. Kids that eat fried chicken a lot later on, but we're looking at psychosis and long-term debilitating things. And THC use for kids is not the same as eating a lot of sugar or fried foods or if they get involved in alcohol. So
Thank you for your...
I don't think that was your intention, but I want to make
No.
sure that in this hearing, in this committee, when we're looking at this bill to protect kids, that we don't minimize the impact of THC on kids.
Thank you for your comment. And the difference is they might get into a package, unfortunately, because it's left laying around, which the parents need to know not to do that. But sugar is a daily thing often that children eat. And if you read the book Sugar Blues by William Duffy, it breaks down some studies where they actually link sugar to schizophrenia and other mental diseases as well. So it is just as important, I think.
Okay, thank you for those comments.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a couple of more we're going to try to get through fairly quickly. Angela Weston, would you stand right there to the mic, introduce yourself and who you, any organization that you might be representing. Thank you for being here this morning, addressing the committee.
Thank you.